How did you find out about Age UK's befriending service?
When you have somebody that's ill or sick or passed away, you start getting masses and masses of leaflets and papers, and they were just piling up everywhere. And I sat one afternoon reading, and it said a befriending service from Age UK booklet. I just phoned up and said, I need a friend. Then my husband became poorly with a back injury that he got when he was in the army, so he was a war pensioner. Things got worse, so 2013 he was diagnosed also with vascular dementia. And within 3 months I couldn't cope. We had to put him into a care home, which I went and visited every day. A year almost to the day after going into the care home, he passed away in the Norfolk and Norwich hospital. I didn't know which way to turn, what to do. I'd never organised funerals, there was nobody there to help, so I did eventually get hold of a lady who does the funerals, and she was brilliant. She came out, made me feel better, but I still was rapidly going downhill, and I just couldn't talk then.
It was a different person?
Yeah, sometimes it is. There's 4 or 5 different ones phone. I do have one lady that phones regularly. Everything when you're on your own is enlarged to enormous proportions. Everything's a problem. But it's that feeling of, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say to yourself, no, Barbara, this isn't you. Head up, big breath, shoulders back. And you look at it and you think, I don't want to feel this lonely. I don't want to feel this awful. And it's just not nice. I'd hate to think of anybody feeling like that. Life can be cruel, and you've got to learn to smile, even if you don't feel like it. Life is good now. I'm back in Barbara's world. I'm enjoying life. The befrienders were so helpful, so kind. They just listened. No matter what I spoke about, how I cried, how long I cried for, they were just on the end of that telephone. That telephone is a lifeline. They're just there, not to tell you what to do. They'll tell you about things that are available. And they listen to those little inner feelings that you can't tell anybody else. There's lots of things you can't tell a neighbour, which I didn't know any of the neighbours properly anyway. There was no one locally that I could turn to. It was just somebody on the end of the telephone. And it took almost a year before I would even talk to anybody. But you've got to go and do it. It won't come to you. You've got to do it. And there's some days you don't want to do anything. Like, I think everyone, if they're lonely, they're disturbed in any way, pick the phone up and call somebody, especially the befrienders, because they do help you tremendously.
Interview Eamon McGrath about the cafe and its services. I wanted to hear about the dementia cafes from the perspective of one of the organisers and how they felt they were helping the patrons of the cafe.
How long has Pabulum been running?
Pabulum started as an independent charity in the 1990s, and in 2007 they came to Age UK Norfolk, and we took on the running of Pabulum as one of our services. My involvement with it has been the last 4 years, when I've been the line manager for Diane, who runs the cafes, and I've always found them a place to go that is full of joy and happiness there. I did a radio interview recently where I said to the presenter that the loudest sound you'll hear at a Pabulum cafe is laughter, and within that immediately there was a gale of laughter from somewhere else in the room, and he thought I'd set it up, but I hadn't.
We met with John, who was a carer for his wife Maureen until she was placed into permanent care. However, he was still able to attend the cafes, so we decided to speak with him about his experiences with the cafe and how it had helped him and Maureen. How do you feel these Pabulum cafes have, and Age UK by extension, have helped you?
I think what's helping me at the moment is I go to see my wife every day, and that gives me that opportunity to still keep interacting with the wife, but it allows me to attend these groups all the time, and that's actually keeping me a lot more stable, if you like, in my sort of loneliness, as you would put it. I would say that I've gained an awful lot over the years by attending these groups, rather than being an individual caring at home, because there's no way you could get the sociability, the friendship that you can build up.
We run 3 Pabulum cafes, one in Diss, one here at the Cossey Centre, and one in Horsted at the Tithe Barn there. We also work with communities to help them start their own cafes. So we don't have the resources to do any more ourselves, but we can support communities to start their own cafes and to run them. Pabulum is a free service that we run. People don't have to pay to come here, and as part of that service, or as part of what we offer here, is the opportunity to learn about the other services we provide, to access our information advice service, which is an important part for people, and to get the support of all the other services that we offer. I know that Diane has, with new carers coming in, has said to them about the befriending service, about the information advice service, and about other things that we do. So it is an access point to other things for some of those people living with dementia and their carers.
Since joining the befriending service, what has it been like, and do you enjoy it?
Oh, the befriending service, well, I helped set it up in 2007, so it's been going 10 years and seen quite a bit of change over that time. And the best part of it for me is having the opportunity to speak to some of the people that we call. I just love doing it.
Since joining the befriending service, what has it been like, and do you enjoy it?
Yes, I do enjoy it. I get to speak to a tremendous number of older people. Our service has grown hugely over the years. Where I started, we were only sort of like 8 or 9 members. We're now over the 200 mark, which is wonderful.
Wow.
Yes, and also we had few volunteers then, but we now have over 80 volunteers and more coming on stream. And that all bodes really well, because it will help those people who are feeling lonely and isolated to feel less so. But I'm very lucky to be able to speak to an awful lot of older people, which is interesting because they all have their own interesting stories to share with us.
Do you think your job benefits you and your community?
It certainly benefits me. I love interacting with people, and it makes me feel good. It also makes me feel good when people who are the members we call say, you know, thanks for calling, I feel good now, I've enjoyed the chat, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Are there any challenges that come with this job?
Always challenges, and one of our big challenges is how do we reach the hard to reach? We don't have access to a database of people who are lonely in Norfolk, but we know that there are many, many thousands of people who feel that they are either living alone, or they feel isolated from their community, or they're lonely within their own home. And it is difficult for us to have access to reach those people so that we can provide them with the service.
Would you say your overall experience while working for Age UK would be positive?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have stayed here 18 and a half years if it hadn't been positive. I've done a whole variety of different roles here, and I'm constantly taking on new things and doing new things, so change is good, makes it interesting.
So could you tell me about any experiences that you've had since joining?
I think for me personally, the most positive aspect of the telephone befriending service is when somebody joins us and they're feeling really, really low, and over a period of time when they've had their befriending calls, they move on. That is our hope for so many of our members. We want for them to be able to move on, and where possible to be able to enjoy their later years. And if the phone call is going to make that easier and better for them, then I'm delighted.
Good. What would you say to someone who would be interested in joining the service?
Oh, come and join us. You'll enjoy it, you'll have fun. You'll get frustrated at times, but you will enjoy it. It's a good, easy service to work for in terms of the simplicity of it.
Loneliness can affect us all in different ways. It does not discriminate. Age UK Norfolk cannot do it alone. The responsibility lies with everyone.